Hello, it is on this day, December 22nd, 2023, that I have pretty much reached my 3-month mark on HRT. Technically it was last night, but today was my actual checkup, which I got my blood drawn, so if my arms are like, it's because I got my blood drawn in both arms, because I didn't hydrate enough. Hydrate before you get your blood drawn. Anyway, it has been 3 months that I've been on testosterone, and this is another update video. So I want to do like a quick disclaimer before we start, and then I'm going to do the reading, and I'm going to talk about the changes that have happened, and then a quick summary, and then I need to leave early for this video. So this should be a fast-paced video. The very first disclaimer is that while I'm very much open to feedback and commentary on what it's like to transition and the effects it has and such as that, there are limitations to what comments I will allow, not necessarily because of what I'm comfortable with seeing, but because of what my viewers, some of my friends that I know watch my videos, are comfortable seeing. So if you ever see a comment deleted, that's the main reason why. And also just certain commentary can just come across as very inappropriate or red flaggy. I don't want any commentary on pregnancy, for example, because you, the audience, the people in the audience that assume that, you are making a very, very direct assumption that that was already possible for me, and it was not. So by claiming a lot of things that people claim, they're kind of being ableist by accident, and I don't really stand that either. I not only want to stand for trans identities on this channel, but I also want to stand for like other possibilities of living that not trans people live too. So I want people to be able to understand, like, hey, just because I'm going through certain things with transitioning, and you may think it's better for me not to go through that, I want people to also understand that people live with that already, and you need to accept those people too. I'm thinking of some very, very specific examples when I say this, but also just like genuine commentary on like, these are like disadvantages to transitioning. When you list those out, just be mindful of which things you're including. And if you're including things that are like, you will no longer be pretty, that's a very objective thing. I want to flat out say and explain how objective that idea is. Because women evidently find men hot. That's how the world turns. And I don't understand the feminine idea of like, you have to look like a woman. That's never been a very prevalent thing for me. It's something I've fought with my parents about for a few years, and now my parents are kind of just on my side on the matter, where they're just like, yeah, like, what are those expectations? And there's some terrible expectations placed on women, flat out. They're horrible in a lot of regards, and that's just in the United States, let alone other places. So again, I will remove commentary that perpetrates those ideas, because it's not just restricting to trans people, but everyone at large. So I'm open to feedback and commentary, but I will remove comments that I feel it's appropriate to remove, particularly for my friends and my community. So with that disclaimer, which could have been said better, we're going to get into the voice reading for the 3-month mark. So with that said, we'll read the poem that I wrote. I still haven't named it. Whoops. Maybe I'll name it next month. I'll name it over break. But here we go. An inlet of rock and sand by the sea, it is I that you see. For many years the waves lapped against me. I shifted to greet them from time to time, but in others I was shy, hiding my coast. They were an expected presence, a constant in my youth. Slowly, though, I grew tentative of them. I asked the tide why scrape at me. She answered nothing has changed. Surely something did, for now I feel pain. The waves grew taller all the same. In high tide I reshaped my front, while in low I was left to deliberate. Were allies brought to my tidal gates? Investigating a smooth shell one day, I thought he looked rather plain. But then a friendly claw turned him over, revealing rainbow swirls and tear-streaked truth. I was too quick to blame the tide, too naive to behold the moon. A cove is always changing shape, forming a haven in each wake. An inlet of rock and sand by the sea, it is I that you see. I accidentally read the wrong line like an idiot. Oh well, I don't have time to redo it, so. With all that said, we'll talk about changes. So the very quick summary, my voice has been going deeper. Before, some of it was just like conditioning. Some of it was just because of the people I was around. I started just talking deeper anyway because I finally like accepted that I'm starting HRT. I don't know how to describe that. You can kind of think of it as a placebo effect. Once you start being like, my voice is going to go deeper, then you actually naturally make your voice deeper, and then testosterone can start too. So that's kind of what happened in my case, where my voice was deeper without any like testosterone effects applied to it, and now I'm actually getting voice cracks and stuff like that in my speech. And I can't hit high notes anymore. Just a few weeks ago, Misha and I were joking, and we were joking about Rocky Horror, and in Rocky Horror, there's a scene where Susan B. Sarandon goes like, "Oh, Brad!" And that one actually wasn't bad. But there's a very particular way to say it that I used to be able to do with Misha, and I tried it the other week, and I cannot do it. It's really funny, though. So we had a lot of laughs about that while we were studying. But I can't hit, like, certain notes right now because my throat will just, like, crack. Or when I try to cheer at a certain volume, if I'm like, woo, if I hit a certain volume, it just stops. It's not like painful or anything like that. It's just like I'll go to cheer and it just can't get any louder. It just hits like a limit. And I think, again, it's kind of related to voice cracks. So I've kind of reached that point, but I'm not like at all unhappy with my voice or anything like that. In fact, I rather like it. And when I meet people, I've actually been gendered more often correctly when I first meet people, which I think kind of just a little bit contributes to my theory that the main giveaway for me has been my voice for many years. On the other hand, I also met someone who thought I started testosterone last year, and I told them I didn't, and they were like, what? So that's kind of nice. So voice is one of the very big things. Body hair overall is pretty much everywhere it has been before, just darker. Keep in mind, I already started with body hair everywhere. So again, to the people in the comments who say, like, you'll have body hair everywhere. I already had body hair everywhere. There are women who have body hair everywhere. Like, it's just something that happens to people. And you can just shave it if you don't like it. It's not a big deal. But my body hair everywhere has pretty much just darkened. I mean, it's in all the... It was already everywhere, so it's not really that different for me. But I've noticed it from like time to time. I'm like, oh yeah, I have more hair there. That's really it. Acne, I think I still kind of have the same amount of acne I've always had. Again, my acne never went away after my first puberty, so I pretty much have the same amount of acne. It's just moved lower down my back. I've always had like shoulder. It's still shoulder, but it's also like base, like the middle of my back as well. That's really the only difference I've noticed in regards to acne. I have a little bit of face acne, but I've also always had a little bit of face acne too. So not too different. I mean, it's noticeable that testosterone is like doing acne, but it's not that different from the acne I already had, if that makes sense. What else is there? We talked about voice, we talked about acne, we talked about body hair, we talked about facial hair. People are still noticing my mustache. Again, it's really hard to see on camera, but I do have hairs. And they are like, they're brown. They're not like, again, they're not like actual, in the case of the mustache, they're not like actual facial hair. They're just the peach fuzz, but it's brown. On this side, I have like 4, you can kind of see that I'm pulling it. I have 4 really long pieces of hair that are a different texture than the peach fuzz. Like they are like actual hair. And it's really weird because they grew really fast. Like I swear there was only 1, and then like 2 days later there was like 4. So I think facial hair is kind of starting, but I don't think it's supposed to start like this. So don't really know. Talked to the doctor today and she just was like, I mean, whatever happens. It happens differently for everyone, so we'll see. But you can see there's some brown there. The easiest way to see the brown in the mustache is to purse my lips in the mirror, like, because then you see all the hairs head on in the mirror. Um, but there's a light dusting, so it's very interesting. I very much want facial hair. Doesn't mean I think I'll look good in facial hair. If I get facial hair and it doesn't match my face, then oh well. I mean, I have considered that possibility, and again, I want people to know that I'm perfectly fine shaving the rest of my life if I need to. It's a normal thing that men also do. Men will be like, I want facial hair, and they'll get facial hair, and they won't like it, and they'll shave it. That's something that people deal with every day. So I'm also comfortable with that possibility. With that said, what else is there? Hairline hasn't really shifted that much. It's hard to tell because my hair is kind of not washed right now because of finals. But my hairline hasn't like changed yet. My family isn't that bad on balding. Like we have one grandparent with balding, but the rest of them don't. So I have considered, I mean, obviously I consider balding, and I'm perfectly comfortable with wearing hats for the rest of my life. But also, an addendum is that my mom's side has a weird gene where our hair turns white in our 20s. And it's only been in the women, and I don't know if that will happen to me. Like, there's a likelihood, but there's also like a unlikelihood. It's very strange. So we'll see if my hair turns white or not, and then we'll also see if I start balding or not as well. But like either way, my dad has had hair most of his life. He only recently started balding, and I couldn't care. Also, with all the years that I have between now and then, it's entirely possible that more like anti-balding things come out in that time period. I'm not hedging my bets on that, but also it's entirely likely that that does happen. So if it happens, it happens. But personally, so far, I've not seen my hairline move, but I'm also not paying too much attention to it. So there's that. Muscles. Oh, Lord. So my arms and my calves in particular that I've noticed, but pretty much everywhere, has gotten bigger. Last time I said that my arms are bigger, and it's kind of weird. I'm saying it with confidence this time. I am getting bigger. Like my limbs are increasing, and it is both muscle and weight. So there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of the body, and I'm seriously going to start committing myself to working out, which my doctor said today, it's very important to not only just like work out those muscles to be able to hold all the new weight that you have, but also it's important to maintain flexibility while you're working out. A lot of our society and workout routines are very much like muscle, 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 do this, do this, do this. But you really also need to prioritize your flexibility, like your ability to rotate with your new weight and stuff like that, like stretching and stuff. So those are some notes that I have from today. On that same regard, I have gained 20 pounds in 3 months. So gaining a bit. It should be noted that I was actually a little light for my size beforehand, so this is kind of a good thing. But this is also the results of hunger, a lot of testosterone, flat out just changing my weight, which is going to happen regardless. But also just a lack of time to take care of my body because of school, and there's not much I can really do about that. It will be my goal next semester to really focus on treating my body well, eating good food and stuff like that. But this semester, I was more so focused on my grades and stuff like that, so I ate a lot of bagels and other things. I still had more vegetables than the average college student, but it should be noted that I have not been eating well. I've had a lot of bagels just in the last few days. So those are all contributions to weight gain. And weight gain isn't a bad thing. It really isn't. Just do your research and understand what weight gain means for your body size. That's kind of what's really important. And analyze if your family has any like history of cholesterol and all that jazz. Currently, my parents don't take any medicine for any of that. Currently. So those are kind of like the important things to keep in mind when you are gaining weight from HRT or other medicines. and talk to your doctor if you're ever in doubt. Pretty evident. Um, anything else? We got weight gain, we got hunger. Hunger was kind of mentioned, but I have been really hungry. I've been eating a lot more than I usually eat. But it's not necessarily like in mass. I'm just adding a third meal pretty much. Like a third half meal around dinner. That's pretty much it. I have confirmed that I do not have sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a much more serious thing than what I have. Sleep apnea is if you wake up in the middle of the night or you find yourself falling asleep doing tasks like chores, then it's much more likely that you have sleep apnea. It is like a get medicine to fight that kind of thing. So I have not been dealing with that. Anything else? Oh, period. Duh. Period has not come yet. It might be gone, it might not be gone. I don't know. It is 2 weeks late. It was 2 weeks late the first month. So it's entirely possible that it's just late, but it is also possible that it is over. It might stop. So I'm unsure where I'm at with that. We'll see what the results are soon. But currently, it's still very sporadic and jumping around, but seemingly could maybe stop. It's supposed to stop between 3 to 6 months, and we are at 3 months, so we can be hopeful in that regard. I feel like no one should be able to shame a woman for being glad their period stopped. Or trans man, obviously. Like, AFAB people, I can't think of any AFAB person that likes their period. Just saying. Just saying. If you know someone, feel free to comment it below, but I feel that is definitely in the minority. Anything else? I think that's most everything. Thinking real quick. I think that's pretty much it. There's been no other effects yet. There's been no like bottom growth that I've noticed. My chest, as far as I know, seems about the same. So those are just like generic things. So with all that said, we'll do a quick summary on where I'm at and what I'm feeling with my identity. I'm still very confident that I want to continue testosterone. That's the very first thing. I got my new batch of gel today. My prescription's still the same amount, 2 pumps a day for each shoulder. And yeah, overall, I have not been feeling dysphoria as much as I used to. I have not gotten facial hair dysphoria in a while. My voice dysphoria has definitely gone down. And that's the main thing that's making me like really happy at this moment is I am happy to hear my voice lowering. The voice cracks, I am getting some shit for it from my friends, but that is just kind of friends during puberty. That's just how it goes. But I definitely have been getting like less like discomfort or self-hate or stuff like that for my voice. And then I haven't really had bottom dysphoria, but I don't think that's an effect of testosterone because testosterone hasn't really done anything in that regard yet. I think I just haven't had it in a while. The times that I have felt the most dysphoria during the last few months have been during my periods. So once those end, I think I'll feel a lot happier as well. So overall, very happy with my choice to continue testosterone. All of my doubts usually come across with things like, how will I look with these things? And that's just one of the things that you can't know. You can't look in the future and see how you will look in the future. But it should be noted that I'm not looking to be handsome because my definition of handsome, first of all, is different from everyone else's. And I'm attracted to people based on their personality and who they are, not how they look, for the record. But also, it doesn't matter what I look like. I'm going to live my life. And people that I don't find attractive physically get partners all the time. So I don't really understand that as a limitation in my identity. I more so am just like, If I don't like facial hair, then I'm gonna have to shave it. That's kind of more so my line of thinking, is like, if I don't like my hair and if I don't like my facial hair, then what will I have to do to get it to something I like? So styling it, figuring out like hats, like beanies, and stuff like that. Methods for shaving, like if I didn't like my body hair, then like how would I shave that? But again, I don't mind my body hair. So those are like the majority of the things I feel. There are like examples in my head that I've run through of like, this is too masculine for me. I have considered those kinds of things. If my voice gets too deep, it will bother me. But I highly doubt my voice will get too deep. And even if it does, there are vocal trainings to get your voice back up a little bit. It's what men do. So again, that's not too big a deal for me either. So for the most part, everything is kind of like a cost-benefit analysis. And really the main thing is figuring out what costs come with like what solutions. Because most of the costs you have from hormonal treatment are costs that cis people deal with every day. I mean, they're all things that cis people deal with, because the whole idea is that you're just shifting your body towards the opposite end of the cis spectrum. So again, most of the things you deal with are things that people deal with regularly. Infertility isn't just with transition, it's with cis women all the time. And so while there's a lack of studying on the effects of trans people specifically, there are like general solutions to most things that trans people can possibly go through with hormonal treatment. So with all that said, I'm feeling very comfortable and happy, and this has also been the most like social and content I have been in my life myself. My parents also have been watching and paying attention to all the changes. They are both cis, they are not queer themselves, and they gave me permission to do this, but they weren't like pushing me to do it, it should be noted. And so far they have been like, okay, this feels like it fits you more. And so it's really nice to have those outside people just reaffirming to you, like, yeah, I can see that you're more happy, I can see that you more so fit the personality that you have. So again, having people like that, whether or not they're related to you, are really good to have when you're transitioning. So in the case of my parents, they definitely apply, because they would have liked to have a very girly female kid, but they're also now content with my transition as they're seeing it unfold. So with all that said, I need to drive home because it is the holidays. So I hope you all have happy holidays and a good new year. And may 2024 be good. Very fun. Not as wild as this year. Alrighty. Bye-bye.